Greetings to you all, and welcome to my very first of many lessons dealing with Somali grammar. This is my very first lesson. Now, before I get into it, I should make a disclaimer letting you know that it is highly possible that there will be some mistakes in these particular lessons. So just to let you know before I make this video and in the other ones that I will be making in the future. So if you're a native speaker or someone who has learned the language for a long time and is you're very familiar with the grammar and anything that you see in these videos, feel free to make any corrections. Don't be afraid to do so. We're all here to learn, and yeah, I will appreciate them. So that's that, and now let's get to it. So for today's lesson, basically we're going to talk about, let me see here. We're going to talk about the verbal subject pronouns and what else? And the adverbial relative clauses. Now, before we talk about the adverbial relative clauses, we need to understand the verbal subject pronouns first. If you don't understand those, you won't be able to play around with the relative pronouns. So, just to give you some information, and also I'm making a reference to the Colloquial Somali book. I'll post a link in the description to that course. That's the course I'm using for my grammar studies. But anyway, the verbal subject pronouns, okay, the verbal subject pronouns are very often used if there is no specific subject, noun in the sentence. The verbal subject pronouns do not stand on their own in main clauses. You must use them in conjunction with a mood classifier or a focus marker. The forms of these pronouns are as follows. Okay, so that was read from the the chapter 1 grammar section of the Colloquial Somali course, and they provide you with a chart. It looks like this. Okay, I just copied it from that book. All right. So these are the verbal subject pronouns. We all know what personal pronouns are. If you don't know what a personal pronoun is, it's basically I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. Those are called personal pronouns. Now we're dealing with the verbal subject pronouns. Basically, these you see here: the aan, an, ad, u, a, ainu, annu, aidin, and a. These are the verbal subject pronouns. So these can't stand alone. They have to be like I just read. You have to put these together with a focus marker, and we're going to get into those in a minute. If you studied, it's similar to Swahili or Zulu, the subject concords. If you study those languages, it's the same concept. I'm not going to get into those right now, but I just wanted to mention that because it's a bit similar to those. But these are the verbal subject pronouns. So let's jump down to the connectors or the focus marker. Now, when you connect these, basically it's what. Now, here are the personal pronouns, and let me just show you how it looks. So wa, you have the wa. So you have the I plus an, you get wan. Okay, and that's for I. Wa, an, it gives you wan. You singular, wa, ad, wad, like that. Okay, so it basically it's just giving you plus the W plus the A, or whatever. It's originally is wa, but the verbal subject pronoun is connected to the end, or connected to that if you drop off the y. And I'll explain more about the y here in a minute. But as you can see here, these match up with the subject pronouns. So AAN there, AAN in here. See that? So those are the same. So you just need this connector because they can't stand alone. Now, basically, this is dealing with, we're using the past tense here, for example. And again, these are from the book. So the first example is she ate it Okay, so way, let's look at that first. First of all, we know that AI or AY is dealing with she or it. If you go back up to the list, A, you see that? And it can't stand alone. So you have to add a W to get way because we're talking about her or she. So she ate it. Unte. Unte. That's the past tense of, like, this is the past tense of to eat. But you see at the end there's a again. So you need to add that here to let you know that is dealing with she or it. So way unte. So as long as you know that a, you know that is dealing with is you know what personal pronoun is being spoken about. Okay, way unte. All right. Then this one, let's look at this one. She ate it. This is another one. Wa unte. Now, these are the same. Well, what are the differences between these two? Well, first of all, when you're using these subject pronouns, these verbal subject pronouns, wa can stand alone. Okay, if you use wa, you don't have to worry about connecting it with a. You don't have to worry about that. That's just a rule. Wa stands alone. All you have to do is add the verb, which in this case is unte, and it will still mean she ate it. Now, if you wanted to add the subject pronoun, then you drop off this I and add a. I hope that makes sense. So essentially, they're the same meaning. They're the same meaning. It's just a different way of saying it. Okay. Here's another example. He ate it. So wu or nay. Wu or nay. So you see that now we're dealing with he or it. You see how they add oo here. That's dealing with he. Oo. And then une. He ate it. Now, this is not the same as this. This is dealing with something else. We're gonna probably, because we're not really, I mean, this is past tense, but I'm gonna show you guys a chart in another lesson, so you can see the changes. But the most important thing right now is to focus on these verbal subject pronouns. Okay, so he ate it, and again, this is another way of saying it. Wa une, he ate it. So it's the same meaning, but only this time we decided not to use the verbal subject pronoun. We just use wa, and it's the same for all personal pronouns. The only thing is the verb has to change. All right. So that's that. Now we go down to adverbial relative clauses. So now, since we understand the adverbial subject pronouns, now it will make more sense when we come down here. So basically, an adverbial relative clause is words dealing with, like, such as if and when. Let me read something from the book here real quick, just to read some more formal information. So adverbial relative clauses, such words as when, if, etc., when they are used as conjunctions, are translated into Somali by relative clauses with specific head nouns which may be thought of as functioning like conjunctions. All right. So here are some examples. And like I said, we already understand the subject pronoun, so a lot of this stuff is going to make sense. So for example, when I have time, I like to go fishing and play video games. All right. So maraka. Oh, did I have too many? Hold on. Yeah, I got too many A's here. It should be 2 A's. All right. So first of all, this sentence, marakan firaaqo leeyahay, waxaan jeclahay inaan kalluumaysto iyo inaan ciyaaro ciyaaraha telefishinka. When I have time, I like to go fishing and play video games. So our main focus here is the subject pronouns and used with the relative clause. So maraka, first of all, That's the relative clause. That means when. Okay, when I have time. All right. So if you drop off, originally is ooh, originally it's maraka. That means when. But when you're saying when I did something, you have to add the verbal subject pronoun here because I'm talking about myself. And this is going to change with all personal pronouns. So marakaan, when I firaqo leeyahay, when I have free time. And then wahan, and here's, I put these in parentheses because these are also dealing with the verbal subject pronouns. So wahan je'elahay, I like. So wahan. So wahan, when I say wahan, I'm talking about myself. And then inan, that goes together with wahan, that goes together. But you need inan, you need the an here when you use that. All right, and here's another inan, talking about myself. All right, so marakaan, when I. Now let's go down to another example. If I want to go to Mogadishu. Hadiyaanaado waxaan rabaa inaan aado Mogadishu. So if I want to go to Mogadishu. So hadiyan. So hadi means if. Okay, hadi by itself means if. Now I'm talking about myself, so I have to say hadiyan. The an here is me. So if I hadiyan aado, and then wahan we talked about before, that's still dealing with myself. I want to do something. Inan wahan raba inan aado Mogadishu. All right. So again, maraka and the hadi, those are the relative clauses, adverbial relative clauses, when and if. All right. Let's move on. When she came, she took the food. Marakay. Marakay timi. Untada. Bay qaday. Marakay timi. Untada. Bay qaday. All right. So, maraka. Now, this is an interesting sentence here. Let's see here. Okay, so first of all, when she came. So maraka, remember we said maraka means when. Now what happened here is the subject pronoun changed because now we're talking about she, he. You see that? It's a here. Now if we go back up to the chart, you will see that a is here. All right. So marakan, when we were talking about myself, we had to add the an here. Marakan. Now we're talking about her, so it marake. So when she, marake timi, when she came, untada, the food, bay qaday. All right. So our main focus is this, because this is a relative pronoun, relative clause. So maraka, when, and then marake is when she. Okay. Here are some other examples at the bottom dealing with the times. Gor, and kol, those are dealing with time, but you can also use these for when you're saying, like, pretty much a sentence like this: when she came, when she does this, when she did this, when she did that, when something happened, basically. All right. So we have a couple examples here. When they found the town, they were very happy. Kolke magaalada Helene aad bay u faraxsanayiin. Kolkay magaalada Helene aad bay u faraxsanayiin. All right. So kolke. So this is dealing with when. Okay. So kolke magaalada. So kolke is when they. All right. Now, the A, if you go back up to the list, the A, you go to they is A, not K. There's a rule. I'm not exactly sure. If you guys know, if you're natives and you understand why, feel free to make a comment, let us know. But for some reason, they added, rather than saying kole, they say kolke. And then there's another one here in this sentence. Oh, it's in the next one. I'll show you. But for sure, it's dealing with them because a here, kolke. So yes, it also means she, but you got to look at the verb as well. So we're coming to that. So kolke, when they magalava, this is magalava, the town. Helene, this is the verb now. So this is found, and as you can see at the end, ain, that's dealing with them. Add by u farahsanayin, and see yin again, that's dealing with them. So the endings, that's how you tell which personal pronoun is being used at the ending. So in there, in here, and then you have a here. So it's very important to pay attention to the verb. Otherwise, you will get confused because this a is the same as he, or it's the same as she. All right. So that's that one. Let's go to the last one. She entered the room when I was having dinner. Kolka. Okay. Kol. Okay. Kolka. Kolka. Way. Gashay. Goratan. Goratan. Oh, sorry. Goratan. Aishaynaye. 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 Kolka. Way. Gashay. Goratan. Aishaynaye. That's still a little tricky. Okay, so kolka. So this is when. So kolka way gashay, when she entered. Now let's look at this for a minute. Now remember, before I told you the wa. Let me go back up to this chart. Remember I told you when we use these pronouns, like for when we use the pronouns, there's two different ways to like here, like way unte, she ate it. Wa unte, she ate it. Remember we said that these are the same and just different ways of saying them. Now wa can stand by itself, but if you decide to use this one, you don't have to connect it to anything. It's just there by itself. Now going back, way, it's the same concept. If you, let me see. Okay, so way gashay. Okay, so that's dealing with her. So way is first of all dealing with her. She. Way gashay. She entered. Okay, this is the verb and it's in the past tense. Way gashay. Right? You can also say wa gashay. Kolka wa gashay. Just how we did here. Right? So kolka wegashay. So when, so at the time when she entered, goratan ashaynaye. Ashaynaye. So this here, if you see this in parentheses, this is the adverbial pronoun. This is dealing with me. So goratan. This is when I was having dinner. Ashaynaye. So this is me. I was having dinner. Okay. Goratan ashaynaye. Now this is back to like the same. This kolke, they added a K here, and then this time they added a T. I'm not exactly sure why they did that, but it's the same concept. All right. So goratan, that's dealing with me. I was having the dinner. All right. When I was having the dinner, or sorry, when I was having dinner. So because ashaynaye is having the dinner. Goratan, the gorda is the time. All right. So at that time, when I, so when I have dinner. So that time she came or she entered, when I was having dinner. So the literal translation is a little different than the translation you see here. It's like the time. It's like when she entered. Like at the time when she entered, when I was having dinner or something like that. But you guys get the concept. That's how this works with the subject pronouns. So that's it. We just dealt with the subject pronouns today. I would choose something else. to go through another time. Next week, I'm going to try to do these videos once a week since I am doing Somali grammar now. I just actually yesterday was my first day studying the grammar, since it's been about a good 6 months of my Somali studies. So again, if you're a native speaker or you've studied this language, you're very familiar with this language, feel free to make any corrections, be on the grammar, it could be pronunciation. If anything was enunciated incorrectly, intonation, whatever, feel free to comment below. What else? And that is it. So the next lesson for Somali grammar will be sometime next week. I'm not exactly sure what day, but next week for sure. So that is it. Thanks for viewing, and talk to you guys here shortly.